All right, thank you very much, Emily. Excited to be here and talk about this. We have some pretty exciting opportunities here, and we've been working very closely with both hydroponics and now aquaponics. So excited to get started in that world. So really want to start with just the learning opportunities that come with things like growing hydroponically or growing aquaponically. And so in this case, all of this ability to grow food, to harvest fish, all the different things that you can do here is very important. And we see it as huge learning opportunities for your students from things like career exploration, STEM, sustainability, the farm to fork movement, just also focusing on just learning engagement for your students to get them engaged in the learning process and understanding and hopefully opening and broadening their minds to a better understanding of ways we grow things, why we do things like aquaponics and hydroponics. So there's a lot of rich opportunity here within these worlds of education. So to kind of just start us out, I have the kind of the beginning mode of want everyone to be on the same page, where want everybody to understand the different types of hydroponics, aquaponics, what they all are. So this might be new to you. This might be something that you have a very extensive knowledge in, but want to just make sure we're all kind of talking from the same level here. So just want to go through the different types of hydroponic systems that are out there. So we would say there are really kind of four types of hydroponic systems. Then there is aeroponics and then also aquaponics. So there are different types in that. The first one in the hydroponic world is what we call deep water culture. This is again, all of hydroponics again, growing has to do with the ability to grow without soil, but actually with water. And so in this case, the nutrients is going to be delivered through the water, and then the plants will grow in water. So the deep water culture is a type of growing system where it's just that it's deep water. The nutrients are within the water, and the plant roots just kind of get soaked up and soak up that nutrients. The next type is a little different, where now there's kind of some activity going on here, is an ebb and flow, where the water is kind of flooding the plants for a while, and then it drains away, and then it floods it, and then drains away, and allowing that movement of that water. The plant systems, the roots themselves, are actually kind of grabbing on as that water and nutrients is flowing, grabbing that nutrients as it goes kind of by and works through. So the ebb and flow system. The next one is what is known as a drip system. So a drip system is where water is basically being dripped in or dropped on to the plants themselves. The nutrients are in there, and then after the plants kind of take up that nutrients, the water is released by the plant into the basin or um, the reservoir, and then new nutrient solution is put in, and kind of the system is brought through again. So kind of a cyclical cycle in that drip system there. And then the last one here is our nutrient film technique. And in this case, it's one of those things where usually the a gravity is playing a part here, where there's a slight tilt in the movement or in the basin itself, and the water then has nutrients on one side. The nutrients then kind of works its way down through gravity, and the plants take that up as it goes, and then from there it drains in the water without the nutrients, and then it gets the new nutrients, and it goes back up again. So those are kind of our four main hydroponic type growing types, and each one of them serves a different purpose, a different way to show and use, but all of them kind of are the same, where you have nutrients that you put into water. The water then is put by or in with the plants themselves. The plants take that, not only the water, but the nutrients. It helps them grow. They still need the sunlight, they still need air movement, but then from there, then those different techniques helps that plant grow, and then we get our different produce or plants in that world. So the next kind of focus here is two separate ones here. And we'll talk about aeroponics. Aeroponics is one that a lot of times you will see, and the thing I always kind of tell people about is it's kind of like the misters at the grocery store when you go into the produce area where they mist to keep some water on the produce. Same kind of thing happens here. Aeroponics is that it's in the air, it gets mist spray, which then allows those nutrients on the roots themselves. The thing that a lot of times people and why they would do this is in very dry areas or where you don't want a lot of evaporation from having just a pool of water, you would do a misting, so then the water would be there and then plants would use it and then it'd be gone. Something new, and one of the things we're going to talk about more today is the last one that's different than hydroponics is aquaponics. And aquaponics is becoming a bigger and bigger trend. There's a lot of different sustainability focuses on aquaponics. And the big thing here is you are allowing two different sources to help each other. So in aquaponics here, we have the nutrients coming from fish and then going to the plants. So I'm just going to dig in a little deeper in this world and talk a little bit more about that. So just to give a little bit more understanding of that, one of the things that happens here is that nutrients comes from the fish's waste, actually. So the fish, they go to the bathroom, they have their waste. In that case, then it is now in the water. Well, that waste has nutrients. It has ammonia, it's nitrogen, and it provides nutrients to the plants. So the plants then kind of take that waste and use it for nutrients to grow themselves. What that does is that by doing that, if you would never clean out a fish tank or you never clean out the fish pond there, it would continue to grow and cause problems for the fish at some point to become an unhealthy level. So what you do with that is you have the plants take care of that for you. They take that nutrients in, they then start to grow, it cleans the water, and we have kind of a whole cycle in that sense. So how does it work? Just very simply, you feed your fish. The fish then have waste. That waste helps feed the plants. From those plants starting to grow, they also are cleaning the water because they're taking all that nutrients. And then that clean water is then used for keeping the fish healthy as well. So a nice little kind of diagram here just to show you how aquaponics works. And there's different ways to kind of build it and set it up, but it is that place where you have the fish doing the work to get the nutrients for the growing. Now, the other piece of this then is as this happens, you're not only growing the lettuce or the tomatoes or whatever type of produce you want, you're also growing the fish. And so you feed those fish, they get bigger. You now have not only, you know, a source of food with the plants, you also have a source of food with the fish. And so it gives you more sustainability, more opportunities in that case. So let's dig in a little bit to some key reasons for growing systems and the importance and the usefulness in an educational classroom. So some of the things that can be helpful outside of just let's grow to understand the growing process is what does this type of work do? What doing this, how does it change things? So, you know, things like saving time, it speeds up the ability for you to grow because you can have artificial lighting, you can have artificial nutrients for these animals or these fish all the time. It also can save space. As we are, you know, more and more population, less and less farmland or ability to do that, it helps in that sense to be able to reduce the space, but still have the same growing power in that sense. It can eliminate chemicals. There's much more ability to regulate what you're putting in, what you're not putting in, different types of organic material instead of chemical material. So there's a lot of different things in that world. It uses less water, so resource availability, and then also food security. So let's talk a little bit about some of these things. The first one I want to talk about is limited space. In many locations, especially in the classrooms, and we'll talk about cities and where you grow, but especially in educational systems, growing in a hydroponic or aquaponic world can actually reduce the amount of space because you maybe don't have the land mass, the area to be able to grow plants in the ground. These systems allow people to grow gardens in limited spaces. So our systems that we have at Realityworks are what we call shelf model types. So they are a shelf unit. They go vertically more than horizontally. And so they are space savers. And it allows the space that you are using to be used at kind of a higher rate. It can also be clean and efficient. So this type of farming grows in a very clean way. So without soil, there's no dirt there. So the cleanup, things of that nature, it's very clean. And then because of things like the grow lights, like the amount of nitrogen and different types of nutrients that you put into your system, those types of things, you can actually have the lights on 24 hours a day, getting a full sun all the time. Well, that can grow and become more efficient in the sense of how long it takes a plant to grow. Um, the other piece of that is this can help in that kind of growing time save and help with some food shortage and growing issues. So this type of farming can solve some of those food shortage. So something that used to take 40 to 50 days to grow in the soil, with the ability to have light all day long, it could take 30 days. It could take 25 days. So the amount of time that you can get from seed to plant, or the start of a fry to a full-grown fish, can be changed based on the different things that you do to help that growing system. The other thing is, in a lot of places, weather conditions can be a big issue, and we're seeing that with discussions on climate change and weather changes or harsher conditions. Well, people can grow both hydroponics and aquaponics year round. You can be in Alaska in cold temperatures and still be growing year round. You can be in Arizona in the deserts and still be growing year round when it's extreme hot and very little water opportunities there. So large scale crop production is there, but you can do it on a small scale. And again, there's no weather conditions. So if a tornado comes through, if you're doing this in the basement of your house, or the basement of a school, or you're doing it in a warehouse, you don't have to have light all the time. You don't have to worry about rain. You don't have to worry about hail. There's all these different things. You have a closed system. You can determine what those weather patterns are going to be and what you want to be, how much light, how much water, how much nutrients you're going to actually give to that those plants. So, another thing then is it can increase your growth rate and the time to harvest. And we kind of talked a little bit about this, where there's a lot of opportunities to increase that time to market. But another feature is also biosecurity. We are hearing more and more, and it's a piece of the puzzle too, of not only where does your food come from, but is your food safe? Is it safe from different types of diseases or in, parasites and things that are happening in this world? Well, we can kind of create a safe and secure way to make sure we know what we're putting into it, what's affecting it, and then again, when you grow it in that world as well. The last one then is the big piece here from an education standpoint. This allows you to test and experiment with all of these different features, from environmental changes you can do, to growing methodologies, to number of plants, to types of fish. All of these things are able to be experimented with in a closed setting, in an opportunity to learn, and kind of a learning lab setting within your classroom, your greenhouse, in areas of that world. So with that, some of these kind of main features here, what we want to do is just kind of help you start thinking about how you could get a program started and off the ground in your school today. So to get started with, knowing and understanding the different parts of pieces. We've talked a little bit about this, but if we're talking hydroponics, we're talking aquaponics, there is going to be a light system. Grow lights help mimic the sunlight. And so having a system that is allowing you to get the best kind of light structure to have that growing ability is very important. Fans are also important. The ability to strengthen your plants, and that movement back and forth is going to be very important. So reducing disease by not having stagnant air, but having that movement is also important in this world. And then water pumps, being able to circulate the water so the nutrients can get to all plants, not just some of them. Or in the world of soil growing, if you missed fertilizer, if you missed some sort of a protection for your plants, that plant could be withered and died. In this case, you can make sure that every single plant that you have is being protected in the ways you need it. Another thing that we focus on is what can you do and what can you plant and work with that. From a hydroponic side, or I'll just say the growing side, we have a lot of different types of plants that you can grow, from cabbage to cucumbers, kale, lettuce is the big one that you're going to see all the time. And then how quickly can you actually grow these different things? And again, this is a great learning opportunity for your students to be able to take data, figure out what's going, measure the growth, all these different abilities in that world. Now, from that world, the other great piece about this is, both hydroponically speaking and aquaponic speaking, we have great kind of crossover of the different types of vegetables that you can use, from lettuce, broccoli, cauliflower, carrots. A large amount of different vegetables can be grown and tried in this world. Now, when we talk aquaponics speaking, there are a variety of different fish that you can also grow. So some of the main type of fish that usually you would grow, from fry, which is the little baby fish, to a full-grown fish, is tilapia. That is one of the best known ones. But things like cod and perch, some of these things that, again, once they are full grown, that you can then harvest and do fish fries, you can and do fish bakes, broils, you can use as a food source. But there's also things like koi and goldfish, where you can use those as pets, as a selling to uh, pet stores and to different people, to then actually have as a pet situation. So aquaponics and the fish has a large amount of different opportunities there. There's also things like the largemouth bass and rainbow trout that can do very well in an aquaponic system. In some of those cases, it might be for recreation of growing them to a size where they could then be released into the wild, being able to then populate different lakes and streams, working with your DNR, making sure that that's all acceptable, but also being able to look at ways to, again, not only just grow for the purpose of growing, but then the usage, the business opportunities, the career opportunities that can come along with this as well. So with that being said, and with our time here, I want to go through and talk a little bit about the systems that we have here at Realityworks, and then the resources that we want to help you with in that world. So first off, we have our plant lab unit. Our plant lab unit is a hydroponic system. The plant lab unit has 3 different shelves, and each shelf has its own tank, and they're all combined are 33 plant sites that you can build. So 11 on each shelf for 33 total. It comes with your LED grow lights. It comes with your fans and your water pump. This is a great system where you could have different types of produce on every single shelf unit to be able to then grow produce. Another product that we have is our plant producer unit. Now, this one's a little different, where you have one water source at the bottom, and that same nutrient water source, it then is for all 3 shelves. It's 3 shelves. There are 42 sites, plant sites on this, and this is more of that production, where I want to grow a lot of lettuce because I'm going to produce it and I'm going to sell it to at our farmers market, to our schools, to to different consumers. So this is more of that producer where you have one place where you put all your nutrients in. It then feeds all the shelves, and you can grow different types of food, but you're trying to grow, and a lot of times you're doing it in a larger scale opportunity there. Another product we have is our plant mini hydroponic system. So this case is you get a 5-pack of these mini hydroponic units. In this case, you are able to then grow plants in every single unit there. It has both an ebb and flow and a deep water culture, and you can also do microgreens. So this is great for that culinary classroom, for that experimentation where students use different types of grow types and also different type of plant types to grow. This is that ability for you to be able to grow and have different options in the growing process there as well. So when you look at these here, we really want to then jump to our last focus here, which is now our newest product, and that is our aquaponics system. So let us go into our aquaponics system here and talk through our newest product. So to get us started here, I have a short video that I want to share with you, and it kind of walks through our newest product that we have. So share sound. Here we go.
Here at Realityworks, we are excited to introduce our aquaponics educational system. Now, we're in our test lab where for the last 2 years, we have been going over how to create a very unique and usable learning lab for aquaponics. So you can see here in our test lab, we have been growing different produce. We have our fish. You know, from a lot of different aquaponics systems, you have the full systems that can take up a lot of space in your classrooms and be very extensive. And so what we've done is, after talking to a lot of educators, talking to experts, and also students, to say, how can we create a learning lab for aquaponics? We have created our own aquaponics system. Now, like our hydroponics units, this is a contained shelf unit on wheels that allows you to not only grow your produce, but has a tank that allows you to be able to grow fish as well. The cool thing about it is, with this learning lab, you have storage space here, so you can put your needed materials in here. It's all self-contained. You have your ability to do your growing of plants with a deep water culture growing method. And then we have our unit here, where in here you can have probably about 8 to 10 fish at total, depending on the size of them. It has a see-through area here where you can look at it. And then the really cool thing is, in this whole learning lab, is it has the biofilter, it has the bell siphons. It shows students you can open this up. So this can be closed or open, and it gives you all these different features to be able to learn how it's self-sustaining, how it goes into the biofilter, where it goes and then comes back up and feeds the plants and goes back in. So it's a learning lab activity where you can get your students to understand. It's movable, it's very compact for your students to be able to use and be able to research and understand aquaponics to its full extent. It also comes with curriculum, allowing those students to learn first and then actually get their hands-on learning experience with this product.
So with that, kind of a visual there for you to see that. And what the whole purpose here is, again, to get that learning opportunity for your students. So this aquaponics educational system is a standalone aquaponics system where it has deep water culture. So in this case, those plants grow because of the fish tank and the fish. It actually shows all the interactions there. We have a 14 plant site growing for this, and then also a 25-gallon freshwater tank for between about 5 to 10 fish. So this compact size allows that learning lab of what aquaponics is, how to use it, what you need to do, and how to grow. It also includes all the things that you need. So right out of the box, you can add water to it, add your fish, get your plants started to grow, because it has this open concept biofilter with the bell siphons to move the fish nutrients to the plant. So the students can actually see what's happening, seeing all that, the waste of the fish waste, and, it all kind of churning up and being there, and then it moving to and going to the next area where, hey, now we're going to actually put this in, and then seeing at the end of it where, hey, wait, look at the water's now clean because that nutrient was all picked up by those plants, and then the fresh water is going to come back to the fish tank for the fish to be able to live in there as well. So all of that included, and then it also has this top shelf for storage and heavy duty wheels for mobility. So you can move it or keep it in a place, and they're locking wheels, so you can put it where you need to. But again, have it in the classroom, have it in your greenhouse, have it in places where students can see it, can be engaging with it, but then also can be very usable for teaching them aquaponics in this world. At the same time, with all of our products here, we have different curriculums that go along with, so it teaches you how the growing system works. So we have aquaponics worksheets and PowerPoint slides. We have hydroponic worksheets, PowerPoint slides, activities. So first, the students can learn all about the growing methodology, and then from there, they can go ahead and actually do the actual steps of growing plants, of harvesting and growing fish, and working in that world. So we start with, here's how it works. Then we give them the activities. Go do the learning, do the hands-on learning that it reinforces these concepts that we are talking about. So our hydroponics and aquaponics systems work together to try to be able to show and help you to be able to teach these different types of growing methodologies. Now, with that, we also have some resources for you for your classroom. So these resources will be given to you. I am going to click on this link here. It brings you right to our website here, and it will walk you through all the different parts and pieces of how to grow, the important pieces, how to implement into your classroom, our different packages that you can go ahead and go out and look at and view, both the prices and then also what is included in those different products. And then there's also some free resources. In this case, there's a free infographic poster. There's a blog. There is some testimonials, and then there's also curriculum samples for you as well. All of these things are additional resources that will be included in this webinar, but are for you to be able to go out, use for understanding more, and also creating understanding in your students as well. In that world. So these free resources are for you to help you gain an understanding, and then also be able to see how it could be useful and implemented into your classroom. So with that, if you are interested or have questions, feel free to reach out to us here at Realityworks. We love to help to formulate different ways that you can implement this into your classroom, and we'd love to be of help there. We also want to have a little question and answer time right now. So if there's any questions, feel free to put those in the chat, and then we will work on answering it and working with you with those questions right now.
Yeah, so real quick, just want to review, we will be sending a link to a webpage that will include the webinar slides, and the handouts that Jamie discussed. And you should see that within 24 hours after the webinar. You will also receive a certificate of completion for attending today's webinar live. And again, keep an eye out on your email. Jamie, one of the questions that did come in was pricing on our hydroponics units. Do you want to go over where they can find that?
Yeah, sure. So I'm just bringing this up here. The great thing about this is you can, click on our different system opportunities here and view the details. You can get free quotes for any of those. And our price ranges anywhere, I'm kind of showing you here is for our producer, it's $24.19. If I go back to our lab, it is $14.29, and then if you go to our mini hydroponics here, we have $24.19 as well, because you're getting 5 of those units. Now, if you wanted to know about our aquaponics system, that is just coming out, and so that'll be coming out live here in January, where you can order it, and they will be in our catalogs. And that price is right around the $3,500 range for that product.
Awesome. And in the aquaponics unit, what do you use to feed the fish?
So in the aquaponics unit, we will not be supplying the fish food for you, but we have our user guide, which will give you every type of different fish food that you can use, the reason why you would try different ones, and then all of those types of fish foods are located either, you can purchase them online or at local stores in your area. Reason being is that way it is available to you much more readily than what we are able to have here at Realityworks. And so you can go and get those things. And it also allows your students to maybe try different types of fish foods and different things that they would have. So yes, you would need to have fish food for the fish, but the fish then is what helps, excuse me, what helps you create the ability to produce the produce.
Awesome. And then for a year's worth of growing, what do we expect to spend on maintaining the hydroponics and the aquaponics systems?
Yeah. So what we would say and they're talking about a year's worth of growing. We look at it kind of semester by semester, depending on what your class size is. We would say it probably ranges between $15 and $30. In the hydroponic world, for different types of hydroponic nutrients, you're probably looking about $15 to $30. If you are including the fish in the aquaponics world, if you're going fish food, it really rounds out about that $15 to $30 per semester as well.
Another great question. How far in advance do we need to order these products, including the new system, in order to have them for August?
So great question. Yeah, so if you see them in the catalog come this spring here, we're going to be dropping our catalog. You'll see it on the website as the new year approaches here in 2024 in January here. Feel free to buy those right then. We are looking to have them to you by the end of the year, and so you'll have them ready to go for that August timeframe. The great thing about that is that if you have them over the summer, you can play around with them, you can interact with them, but they'll be ready for that August timeframe. Definitely, yep.
Another question came in. Will we have access to live support once we get the systems?
Yes, we have 24/7 different, well, I would say 2 ways. We'll have a ton of online resources. So you can look at those 24/7. You can get that. We'll walks through a lot of that information for you with our online resource center where different tutorials, we'll have guides for you that are included. And then we also have our Realityworks customer support line. And so you can always call that and talk to a customer support here in our offices, a live person to talk through what's going on or issues. And then we also have a ton of tips and tricks. The purpose of this and going through the growing of these and our research of this is we want it to be where as you start up, I mean, there's always a chance that you could do something wrong, but for the most part, we have tried to work very hard to make it, if you're doing the things you need to do, the things that and follow the instruction guides, you should be very successful at growing fish and also growing plants.
Awesome. And then with hydroponics, is there ever an issue with bacteria or fungal growth?
Yes, there is the chance for algae to grow, things of that nature. If I kind of jump in our slideshow here, our tanks here are black in color. And so the purpose of that, they also have a cover up. Now, there is a window so you can see inside to the fish and the fish see out. But the reason we've done that is so we can try to stop as much sunlight to that to reduce that growth in that sense. We also have it where you can see there are spigots on it. There are abilities for you to remove the fish, to clean, and then also in the plant sites, they themselves, with the more light in the water, it could grow algae. So that is again a place where you can clean it, but also we have it so it kind of, I want to say locked down, but so the light will not get into the system. That then will help with any type of algae growth in that world.
What about the algae growth for the hydroponics units?
Same thing. So that is a closed system. So again, we have the covers on everything. That will be is all there for the purpose of trying not to get sunlight. If there's no sunlight, you can't really grow the algae. Now, the same time, if algae does start to grow, there are ways, and we have that in our guides to try to combat that. The other side of it is you can, once you've grown in the hydroponic world, once you've grown your produce and you have harvested it, you can much more easily then take out the plant site areas and clean it all up and then reuse it as well. So we haven't really ever seen too many problems from our users where they have huge growths that become a problem in that sense.
Awesome. And another question that came in is in regards to the plant lab educational hydroponic system. Is it an ebb and flow or a deep water culture?
So in that case, it is a ebb and flow for the plant lab there. So the water comes in one side, it moves through, and then goes out to the other side. So the nutrients kind of moving across the plants and then moving in back into the tank.
Okay, another question came in. If we are getting started with the new system, what plant fish slash plant combo do you recommend exploring?
I would say the easiest, what we have found and what we see usually in research is the easiest connecting piece there is, lettuce and tilapia. Tilapia are a very hardy fish. You probably won't kill them off. They can deal with a lot of tweaking in the system, and so they're if you don't have your amount of food, fish food right away, or you're moving through the process and you don't grow all the sites for plants, things like that, they can handle a lot of things. So they're a very hardy fish. And then for your plants, just lettuce grows really well, is easy to do. So if you want to start out with that as the beginning level, I would start with that and then move to more options there. And that's really the fun thing, is you can really start to try a lot of different things. And we have schools that they'll start with tilapia, and then they'll try a few trout to see what does that do, how does that interact, what are the different differences between one or the other. So a lot of experimentation goes on, and it's pretty neat to see the learning process in that case.
All right, so this is kind of a two-part question. Do you recommend purchasing adult fish or buying them as juveniles in the systems? And can you mix the fish species in the systems?
Those are great questions, and those are great learning opportunities to go through as well. And I will just say, from our experience, and we can't tell you yes on everything or say we're the final answer everything, but from our experience, yes, the best way to probably grow would be start with some some small fish, and have them grow in the system, have them get bigger and bigger. In that case, that's usually a fun experience, and to have them grow as you grow the nutrient or the plants that you have as well. The other side of it is, can you have different types of fish? Yes, you can have different types of fish. However, you do in some cases need to be a little bit careful, because there are some fish that are more aggressive or can be different. So goldfish and a catfish may not want to do it, but you do goldfish and your koi, kind of those pet type ones, that's probably no problem. So you probably want to keep certain ones, and those are some research opportunities there and some opportunities to test and try. But your pet fish probably keep separated from your if you want to say your food fish, in the sense of your tilapias, your bass, your trouts, things of that nature, your cod.
Awesome. One other question that came in about our units is how noisy are our hydroponics and aquaponics units?
That's a great question. So the noise that you're going to hear is the fans turning on, and though they are small fans, and they have a very light sound to them. So there is a little bit of white noise, but again, we have educators who have these in their classrooms with the lights and the fans going, and have not seen much issue whatsoever in that sense. So very minimal noise and sound from that. The other thing is the water pumps as they're moving through it. Again, it's like a fish tank, and so it's a very small, very background white noise. It is not loud. They don't, make a lot of noise as they turn on and off. It's a very minimal amount, which has allowed a lot of these are hydroponic units to be right in the classroom, next to the tables, next to the desks, because there isn't much sound to them.
Awesome. And then are our hydroponics and aquaponics all mobile units?
Yep, every single one comes with wheels on them, and so they are locking wheels, so you can move them into place, you can lock them, keep them in that place. But then also, if there is something where maybe at the end of the school year you want to clean them all up, and so you want to take them outside and dump the water or things of that nature, you can do that. You can move them as needed. So movable, but have very strong, sturdy wheels that we've done a good amount of testing on with different floor types, from carpets to tile to concrete. So ability to be able to be mobile as needed.
Awesome. And I'm not seeing any additional questions coming in at this time, Jamie.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. If you have more questions, feel free to reach out to Realityworks. We'd love to help and talk through this. If you have more questions or things that we maybe didn't cover that you think of later, please keep in touch with us. Reach out to our salespeople for any quotes that you might be interested of. And if we can help in any way, we appreciate the time and effort that you are doing to be with the interest of our hydroponic and aquaponics unit. So thank you for your time, and thank you very much.